you see the movie, man. It's better than Dark Star ever dreamed of being. And Dark Star, man, is a classic. If you've never seen that movie, well, you got to find it on Netflix or something. Those rascals don't seem to have anything, babies. But anyway, like Dark Star by John Carpenter, you know, that's when his beginning days of directorship, you know. And for those that don't know John Carpenter, but went on to make lots of real sick shit. But he made a ton of money, and he's real creative about it, and everybody admired his craftiness. I won't go on to describe it from there, but this was the movie he did as a film student at the USC in good old LA, California, or in that neighborhood. Babies, you know, and there we were, man, you know. Wow, I got to see it for the first time in San Berdoo. San Bernardino, California. I was hanging out. I like the street scene there, you know. For a couple of years when I ran that way and I had a little time, I'd go spend time in San Berdoo instead of L.A., man, because it was a lot more fun. And the air back then wasn't quite as bad as it was down in L.A. God, it was heavy there. You know, all that ozone, man, and all that brown stuff around you, man. They called it smog. I called it good grief. What the hell is this? So I was out there in San Berdoo hanging down, partying down. And I don't know. I really didn't feel like getting drunk, and I wasn't seeing any real party action happening on the street just yet. Boy, there was a bunch of happy people, though, and a bunch of street buskers and so forth, and, you know, Buddhists chanting their chants on the sidewalk, and just all kinds of shit like that. God, it was quite the scene, man. There amongst the orange groves of San Bernardino, California. Well, there were a few orange trees on the streets, you know. The homeless got to eat of them, etc. It was, you know, it was a cool deal. This is like maybe the early 70s, late 60s, somewhere back in there, you know, when I'm trucking that way. So imagine it's 70s, early 70s, you know. And there's old John Carpenter's movie, and I didn't even know who the hell John Carpenter was. But I saw this title up on this glittery old marquee as I'm walking down the beautiful sidewalks of San Berdoo. And something says, take a look, man, and I did, man. Bang, Dark Star. I connect with that. So I went and paid them $3 or whatever it was to get in, and went and seen this movie. And, you know, it was like afternoon, I think, maybe 3 or 4 in the afternoon. So the audience was real light. Most folks were all out getting their McD's, or, well, it wasn't McD's then, it was Whataburger. That was the big thing back then. That's what everybody was out getting. For dinner, I mean, you know, that's what the gourmets ate back then, man. We got a lot more refined taste these days, anyway. But that was the scene in San Berdoo. So the audience was light, you know. And so maybe a dozen people, maybe 2 dozen. Yeah, let's give it 2 dozen, so at least got a little bit of fatness to it, you know. And here's this movie, Dark Star. You hear me play that Benson, Arizona every now and then. That's the ending song in that movie. It's awesome. But Dark Star just blew us away, man. It was about these cosmic hippie beings that were flying around in a spaceship, and their job was to use these really, really intelligent bombs to take out defective planets, you know. They had strange ways of keeping themselves entertained. You know, they, when they had a beach ball monster show up out of nowhere, I mean, you know. And then they had a tricky moment with this really, really smart bomb, and oh man, I won't give away the ending, but babies, it's also poetic. It was also bitingly satiric, but beautifully so. It's a work of art, man, like you never seen. And creativity up the butt. You know, for example, you're looking at the spacesuit in the front. In front of it is a muffin tin. Blends right in. You wouldn't even notice, man. Pretty cool stuff, man. Old John Carpenter was a real crafty director. But I'm telling you, after old Benson, Arizona got done playing and the credits rolled away, I mean, we sat there and caught our breath for a minute, and the whole audience, all 2 dozen of us, got up and applauded that thing. That was an amazing journey. It was just like, wow, what a great way to spend an afternoon, man. You know, traveling the universe with a bunch of cosmic crazy hippies. How much better can it be, you know? So I highly recommend you see that one. It's an experience, baby. An enlightenment. You know, in a very coyote sort of way, you know, man. See how long this coyote medicine's been at play. See how many gateway openings we've created. We took a guy that was going to turn out to be, you know, rather macabre in his cinematic expression, and let him show his heart in his first work of art, man, and it stayed there forever, man. You know, I think they play it every now and then on late night TV when whoever goes see Cal is now selling used cars all night long. for the old movies, you know. Well, I think it's there somewhere, but I don't know, with all this cable stuff, who knows? But it's called Dark Star, and John Carpenter is the director of it, you know. So you check it out when you got a time. Hey, listen here, guys. Now, if you haven't been over to thecoyoteclub.com, coyotes with a K, clubs with a K, get on over there and take a look at what I'm doing. We're buffing that baby up, making her shine like a new Cadillac right off the showroom floor, man, and having a good time doing it. Right now, it seems a little aspectually commercial. Make sure you're clicking on the pages. There's links on top. I got 3 pages up right now. There'll be a bunch more when I'm finished with it. It just takes a little time. I have to do this, develop that, then I got to make video. You know, I only got so much time in a day, baby. So, you know, we just keep it underway, but it's rocking over there. And by the way, now, if you're one of the soul sisters or soul brothers out there that's got some kind of Mary Jane related business or some kind of green business going on or something that's really wholesome and soulful or whatever, if you're just a rock star that wants to advertise your presence, share your schedule with those out there, along with a little bit of your tunage or whatever, you know, we're here to help promote good-hearted people and good-hearted efforts out there in this real cinematic sort of way. Thank you very much, John Carpenter. We're the bright star now, man. The dark star's gone away. You know, we're here to play in the coyote way. See, because we took the dark star and made it bright, man. And just, you know, the explosion of love goes on forever. You got that right, see? See how Grandpa just sneaks it up on you? It's the angelic way, you know. That's coyote. We love it. We love to fool ourselves into being cool. You know what I mean? And nothing better than that, really, you know. And just about time you think you're the ultimate klutz, you turn around there saying to somebody, wow, how cool, man. And all of a sudden you got a reputation, didn't even know you were getting it, you know. That's the angelic presence and the coyote medicine in a coyote way. Yeah, each and every day here, Monday through Friday. Yes, indeed. Hey, with who else but your old host, Grandpa Coyote. You know, I can't help it but show my heart each and every day here, because you guys never get in the way, you know. A lot of things would try to, but they don't. Nothing's in the way, man. This is 5 hours of free-flowing rock and roll. And a whole lot of coyote medicine, don't you know? The radiant love of the essential heart of life, the root of the mother, and the sun inside each and every one. See, we get to take that ride, man. Sometimes through stories and stretched out tales, and sometimes there's always a stark reality to the comedy we're living in. You know, you got to remember it's kind of a soap opera, and so it'll tend to go and try to be all serious about itself. But when you look at it as a viewer, it's funnier than hell. You know, it makes you almost want to go buy a box of Tide just in memory of the soap operas. For those of you that don't know, the younger generations, man, well, the soap operas were always, and all the housewives who stayed home and didn't work those days, or at least wasn't real common. But anyway, so they watched soap operas all day long on the television, you know, while they were cleaning house or something, you know. And they were all full of, you know, romantic disintrigue and, you know, plots to get rid of people and shit like that. There's all kinds of drama, you know. But the main thing was to sell Tide. Tide sponsored all the soap operas, and Blue Cheer in competition, you know, because it's America, and we got to have the charade going on, man, you know. So that was the scene back then. That's why I say, you know, the scene of the soap opera of life as we play it almost wants to make you go out and buy a box of Tide, you know. So I have to forget that not everybody out there is wise to coyote medicine. So sometimes I'll let you in on the joke that way, you know. Be a little more explanatory. Be a little more gentlemanly about it. You know, I use this wry, subtle humor all the time, you know. And I know that not everybody gets it, but guess what? The energy behind it, that's what you get. So your interpretation of it is just fine for this moment in time, because that's what you needed to be and see and do, and that's what I am, you know. Isn't that funny how we all work together, yet we seem so far apart and so separate from one another and live such different lives in such different places, but every one of us are charmed in the place we live, and the place around us is charmed, so is the people in it, you know. We live in a magic paradise, and we're just starting to realize that now. We kind of took it for granted earlier and was more focused on what wasn't working here, trying to find solution, of course, than what was, not realizing the solution. Take a look at what already is working. Where's the flow going? You know, the people that care about one another, they're the reality here. And those that really, in their own communal sort of way, reach out to assist one another in whatever way the cosmos will have it be, you know. And usually it's just small little things, you know. Giving a quarter to the kid that doesn't have anything, go around the grocery store and grab something. Well, I know maybe it's $1.50 now, because a candy bar costs about that much, but something, they were a nickel when I was a kid, you know. I used to love those big hunks, chewy damn things. Pull your teeth out sometimes. Ooh, I love that stuff, man. You know, I'm talking about baby teeth, you know. I know little kids shouldn't be eating that kind of crap. We didn't know any better back then, and if we did, we didn't care. It was sweet and a treat, and man, I loved it, you know. My daddy, I got to let you in on a little secret here. The old days, man, the old way. See coyote medicine everywhere, man. All through your life when you start to take a look. That's why I share with you this way. Well, my daddy, he's a farmer. He's a trucker. He's a city council person in charge of the water department. He's directory of the rectory, I mean, you know, bishop, I think they call him, in the church organization, which is the real community there in Utah where we grew up, you know. So he's a real busy guy, and he's also obligated in political ways, too, you know. He's on this multi-state commission, I don't know how many states it was, but who were going to figure out what to do with the Colorado River and how they were going to divide it up, you know. It's like, wow. You know, so he's like a busy guy. So he's on the go all the time. You know, we don't see a lot of him unless we go out to work with him, you know. He goes out and irrigates at night, and sometimes we'll go out with him then just to watch him with his old spotlight out there doing the irrigation. But, you know, to keep himself going, he had to have a lot of charge and energy, and he was a sugaraholic, man, and he had a box of 50 or so varied candy bars in his glove compartment, and every now and then he'd give you one, but not very damned often. So mostly I'd have to snitch him, you know, and make it look like I didn't do it. Make sure the wrapper was well hidden and stuff. But I think he knew every time you snitched one. I think he just left them there for treats. But because of the morality and his position in the community, etc., well, he had to appear as to be disgusted by your efforts to steal from him and shit like that. Coyote medicine everywhere. Well, you know, I mean, the reality around me was kind of sour, so I got my sweetness from within, you know, from munching down on candies and stuff like that. It was awesome, man. Zoom bar. What was that one? Ziggurat or something like that. It had a toasted coconut outside. That was good. I mean, there was a lot of, you know, in the chocolate bar, the Snickers. Oh, what a charge, man, you know. The M&M, that was the one. It was gooey, man. If you got it out in the sun, God, you'd get it all over. You couldn't help it, man, you know. Shit. But, you know, there was a treat in that sweetness that went beyond my comprehension of the time, you know. And it's kind of like my old man was showing me about this paradigm, what the real story is here, you know. If you really want candy, you're going to have to steal it. Because it'll only be granted to you once in a while otherwise, you know. And you can see there's an ample supply, so nobody's going to miss a little if you take it. You're not a greedy person, you just want your share. You see what an underhanded little thing that was. But I'm not blaming my dad or saying he was a dark bean or anything, but the message was real clear, you know. I don't think he realized the Jungian side of it, let alone the Freudian one. Wow. So, you know, there's probably a little imbalance there, but guess what? The sweetness kept me a sweet little kid, you know, and it never really overtaxed me, you know. I mean, it was cool. Everything was real, man. It was just happening, and it was fun. I mean, you know, you got to understand how frustrating this life was for this little kid going through it, even at those younger ages, you know. There was just no way his heart and soul could get committed in the way his parents wanted him to be. There was just no way. As flattered as he was by the extra attention it brought him and stuff in a more positive way, wasn't too comfortable with what had gone on in the other way, you know. So it was like a life of live in hell, but lived in an innocent sort of way. You really didn't feel your misery in the way an adult would, you know. But you felt it. But it was more like a deep wound, a deep shock, and some life, some unusual energies inside and aspirations too, because of it. So a little sweetness in light, if I had to snitch a little of it here and there from the old man, if he was that stingy, he wouldn't share. Especially with a growing kid who needed some sugar to make him real, well, shucky doos. we'd help him do it. We'd be the noble one, you know. So you always find some nobility in your thievery. So, you know. But guess what? That's that communal dream. Manifesting in a wily, dark sort of way. You see the coyote medicine again? There it is. You know. You're always trying to manifest life, bring forward good things for yourself and others. You're always trying to live that communal dream where there really isn't any stealing or can be. Everybody shares what's necessary. We all get along just fine. Nobody is in need or want for anything. Candy bar you want, you got 5 dozen of them, man. Whatever happened and whatever you need, there it is, you know. That's how we are in our reality. That's how we live as angelic presences. You know, we really, really do care for one another. And we see to it that we are cared for in this creative heart of ours, you see. But the dark star comes and shadows over the sun, and we live in this unusual paradigm where in order to get sweetness, you learn as a little kid you got to snitch it. Took me a while to get over that one, you know, to figure that wasn't just right, you know. I had to get my finger burned in a little bigger way before I decided that maybe there was another way to buck the system than just taking from it. Maybe I could just, you know, kind of trick it out of it in a heartfelt sort of way. Or just get people. What I really tried all my life was to assemble people from the fringes of life and bring them together in a heartfelt communal sort of way of one sort or another. I really had no requirements, but boy, I was filled with that hippie dream, even as a tiny little child. And it was such a, I mean, in a way, the Moors of the society around me really believed in the same dream. But it was a real warped vision of it. Their idea of a communal thing was like, you know, a Mormon thing that's very regulated, but, you know, and everybody, you know, and it's kind of, there's scorekeepers and shit, and a keeper of the lockers and the lockerettes of food and shit like that, you know, and the community doles out just certain things and does it in a certain way, and usually there's a communal arrangement that's kind of polygamous. There's a lot of women and not that many men, and a whole lot of children hanging out. You know, there was a place based on the whole Mormon vision of that called Orderville. You can look up the history on the internet, I'm sure. Orderville. It's down there in south central Utah, getting towards the national parks down there where life is gorgeous and spectacular. But, yeah, that was their efforts in communal. But, see, they really didn't believe in it. That didn't work out. You know, now they got this, when I'm a little kid here growing up in the late 40s, early 50s, they got this whole rigid environment, you know, and they've turned their back on a lot of really sweet things in life, and they're teaching people to live kind of a narrow way, if they will. Not everybody takes that seriously, but I'll try to pay tribute to it, because if you're disharmonious there with the church teachings and so forth, well, it's the whole society around you, and you ain't going to get along too well in that world. They just won't do business with you, etc. You know, and they're not rude people, and they'll be kind to if you come in and you're of some other religion and shit. But you pay your homage to the Mormon way no matter what, because your religion better agree with it, right? Well, it sure does in some way. You know, they all do. So that's kind of the contrasting reality I had, you know. So I could believe in their dream, but I'd sure refine it in my heart. Ooh, the visions I saw were pretty damn free, you know. Just like that Free Day Friday as we're having today, babies. Yes, indeed. You feel your heart at play? Yeah. See, so, wow. You know, what a beautiful and poetic little example of coyote medicine. The weird ways that this life has of teaching you to be yourself and to allow for yourself that which you really need. See, when I look at myself now, I don't see myself as a little thief there as a kid. And I don't see myself as entitled either. I just see, you know, there was some sweetness. I wanted it. There it is. And it was a gift, really, from the universe, whether I had to snitch it or otherwise. You know what I mean? I couldn't help it if my daddy's attitudes and mine weren't quite in alignment, you know. We'd grow to have a lot further differences than that, let me tell you. You know, I had to turn my back on all of that in order to be free of it, in order to get out of there, you know. That place had its hold on you. Hold on your soul, man. There was such a dark aspect to it, you know. An anchoring weight that, ooh, it takes a little time to get over it. Those of you that have lived that way come from the cosmic families of Utah that, you know, were kind of that way back in the 50s. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It was a nerdy existence, very cornball, but oh my God, in the background, everybody was, getting with everybody else in the closets and under the beds, and, whenever they could get away with it, Well, I mean, not everybody. There were people that honestly believed it and tried to live it, too. That LaBeouf takes that into reality, doesn't it? You got to have your salt and pepper, even in dogma, and a dogmatic world. This was an experiment in the higher way. When you get up to the governmental levels of it and a little beyond that, there was an experiment in manipulation of communities in a whole region, because this was isolated. So back in the days where it all began, there was some compromises made between the authoritarian church and the governmental reality of the federale government from the United States. And so it was agreed that as part of their journey into statehood, the citizens, the members of the church and all that lived in all these Utah communities along the Wasatch Mountain, that they could be participated in certain experiences in manipulation and mind control, as it's called, that not all of society would be subjected to until they'd refine their techniques by using these experimental groupies called Mormons down there in Utah, I mean, that's how callous the reality could be and the political machinery behind it. These kind of deals are made all the time across the earth, That's why we got into so damn much trouble. But it's also the same reality. They can't make those deals anymore. It's sputtering to a halt. Truth is being revealed. And their only choice is how do we do it. And they don't have much time for that either, because it's happening anyway. The divine presence will reveal itself in its own time, its own way. And it's doing it right here today on this Coyote Medicine Show. Inside you, me too. My little doggy Okiwan, and all the rest of us, all the rest of this creation is coming back to life. And you will see it, live it, because you're doing it right now, see? It doesn't go away when old Grandpa does, because I never go away either. I'm always there with you, just like you're always here with me. We work this together. We're a collective heart. And a damn pretty one at that, too, man, No matter how our outward expression might be, our inward heart is so damn pure. That's why we're in love with each other all the freaking time. Baffles the hell out of you sometimes, don't it? Well, now it starts to make sense, you see. Because, man, once we realize we're that in it together, that this really is a vibe tribe, that's a singular heart, given colorfully in our characteristic presence. Divine comedy in motion, man. The soap opera of life, But it's a coyote soap opera. They're not near as boring as damn things back in the 50s put you to sleep. This shit rocks. Brings you wide awake now, don't it? You're starting to catch on, John. How about it, Jane, Jane, Jane? Oh, I love Jane swinging through the jungle, especially when it was Bo Derek. Forgive me, for being a lecherous old man. I'm not really. I just appreciated Bo, man. Same way her husband did, man. That guy just worshipped that woman and the ground she walked on, I kind of felt the same way, and if I had a movie crew and camera and a bunch of money behind me, I would have been filming her out there in the hot tub and in the jungle too, man. Whatever, you know what I mean? So I paid tribute to them as a couple, but especially to her spectacular. I mean, it's not just the beauty of, the body, but it was amazing, the representation there of the carnal beauty. I mean, a lot of people thought that was bad and wicked and terrible, that Jane should be naked on the movie screen, etc., Well, babies, it wasn't. It was divinely poetic. It was anything but pornographic. It was like, erotic art and then some, but way beyond even Eros, man. I mean, because it really didn't have too much to do with sexuality, though many people felt it that way. But the reality, the truthful side, I felt like about a 19-year-old kid when I first saw that. Maybe I was a little older. Don't remember. But wow. It just made you want to celebrate your life. I mean, you were just so damn glad that such beautiful existence to be. And of course, the movies make them look better than what they are, but somewhere inside, there's that real energy shining through. And their body reflects it. Maybe they're all stuck on themselves and they ain't worth a damn as real people, but, we look and see what and experience what's there on the screen with us, And boy, I'm telling you, there are some divine moments like that throughout the cinematic treasures of You know, the chest of Hollywood and Bollywood and everywhere else there's movies made across this earth. There's some real treasures, some real seeds of love being sown there, you know. It's not just the music, but music is such a part of the movies. Well, of course it's the music and the activity that goes with it, you see. See how we've unwound our uncosmic reality and started to bring it back and done it in so many weird and different ways. Ways you'd never expect, man. And they become exponentially expansive when you start to realize what's really gone on here. Then you see what's happening now, you see. And how. Why this expansive heart is here sharing with you each and every day, and why Oki's got to have his way and bark at the neighbors for slamming the door. Oh well. Hey Oki, we love you, baby. He's my assistant DJ here. For those who don't know, he's my whiny weenie dog, a little dachshund of love, man. I love him so. He is to me. He's the coolest little guy. You guys will have to all meet him. Come to Crestone for a little visit sometime. You can hang out with Oki and me for a minute or two. Or maybe a few hours, a few days, a few weeks. I mean, you know, wherever the mood takes us, eh? You got Grandpa Coyote helping you keep your day underway with a real sweet morning wake-up call, wouldn't you say? I mean, even though we did make Santa Claus into a warped character, I mean, well, shoot, that's the Dark Star aspect to everything, you know. There's always the ironic poetry in it, always. The irony here is so pure, so golden, so sweet. When you can really start to appreciate it, you can really then appreciate your life and all the poetic irony in that. So says Obi-Wan Kenobi and Grandpa Coyote from here at 9,000 feet high in the spaceship love, coming to you like a heart, you know, I mean, I'll shoot ya. Balls to the walls, babies, and then some, man. Right here on the Hazy Radio Network with the Coyote Medicine Show. The morning wake-up call and so much more. Oh, Oki, please, don't do that. Sing, just sing. Sing, howl.